Hello and welcome. This is Kevin, also known as AWOL. And today we're working on a bracelet where the colors are swapped around. So you have blue on one side and red on the other. And if you'll notice, as I shift them to be on the either side and still have a loop, I'm using strings from the side I just shifted to actually pull it together, because that's going to pull it together tighter. And then I do my first knot to try to help hold things together while I do the actual setup. It's a little bit harder to do these kind of bracelets, you know, where there isn't the same number of colors on either side, but they're not impossible. So far, all the examples of people that have made this bracelet have done it where there's just like a tassel end on both ends, and that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to have a loop. Also, the thing that makes the loop possible is the fact that I doubled up the floss. So that way for every string that's coming down, there's two strands, and that's how the loop actually works off of that. So there you go. By the way, this is bracelet 4388 over on friendshipbracelets.net. It's really kind of cute. I thought I had it turned in a way that would make it, you know, more advantageous for somebody who prefers doing the knots that go to the right hand side. Turns out that was wrong. There are more knots going to the left. Not a big deal. Just kind of slowed me down just a little bit. That's all. It's really simple though. I seriously did not need the pattern for anything more than to know when it was going to stop. And that was very refreshing. A lot of times I end up like checking all the time, looking at the computer screen. Am I at the right spot? Is the right color crossing over? I didn't have that trouble here at all. This is a very, very simple design. And I have to say it was a lot of fun. I also have to say that I really like the way the color scheme turned out. You can't really quite see it now. It's still early in the bracelet thing, but it kind of alternates between light and dark colors. And I really hadn't given that a lot of thought when I was setting the whole thing up. And so the fact that it turned out going dark light actually was something of a really great blessing. Like, it really turns out pretty cool. So it goes dark blue, then light blue, and then it's like a pinkish purple. So it's like a dark pinkish purple, then a light pinkish purple. Yeah, I really don't know what those colors are called. They're just interesting looking. The only thing you have to kind of keep track is on the one that's coming down from the right, there's two knots before you'd put the one in the middle. Everything else, it's just one. So like there's just one spot that's a little bit different than everything else, but it's real easy to see where it happens and stuff. So like there's an underlying thing going on where, you know, it just centers whatever color into that little box, which is really cute. It really, especially since there's a high contrast between the lights and the darks on the outer boxes, and then the inner box, the ones that run right down the middle, is a dark color that intercepts the darker color. And so kind of if it were any other way, it might not turn out quite as well. You know what I mean? Like if the light colors were on the outer boxes or whatever, like you wouldn't see them much. I don't know. I really like the way it turned out. I guess that's the biggest takeaway right there is it turned out awesome. The pattern is available over on my website, so you guys can go and check that out. Try it for yourself. Try it with any colors you really want. The trick is you need 4 colors that all kind of go well together, and that was that's kind of where I went with what I did with the light and dark combo, is because I was trying to find a way, because if it's a 3-color thing, you can go red, blue, yellow, that kind of stuff. You can go, hot colors, you can go cold colors, whatever. With 4, it becomes a little bit trickier to try to find a nice combination that works well together without like leaning too hard on one color or another. So yeah, I like the way it turned out. I think it's really hard to say where we are in the making this, because it doesn't have a very obvious center. We didn't flip it or do anything crazy. So before I forget, I do want to thank my YouTube members for making this possible. Go through so much string, and yeah, I couldn't do it without their help. Like seriously, you guys do a whole lot for me when it comes to this. So thank you guys so much. Yeah, I don't know kind of what else to tell you. Oh, very beginner friendly, and it uses the strings pretty evenly. There's a little description in each color, like some of the strings within each color are a little bit longer, but only by like inches. So seriously, just a really well balanced bracelet as far as using up the strings. So that's pretty nice. You like to see that every once in a while, something that you can save a little bit on. Of course, I just used the same length as always, just easier to compare with, and the leftover strings can all go into my little totes and then get used in future projects. So it's kind of, I don't know. I know that there's a number of people who like to try to work out how much string down to the smallest amount. I don't know that it necessarily pays out that well, but perhaps you've got a method that works. So kudos to you for that. My system is, I want whatever my leftover strings are long enough to use it for whatever project that may come along, because I don't want to have to sort through and say, oh, well, I have this color I could use, but it's not going to be long enough. So I have to go with this color I didn't necessarily want, but because it's longer, doesn't make sense to me. If all of my leftover strings are all of the same length, I can pretty much use it towards any project. So if I come across a color and like, I want to use this, it's real easy, can grab it, can go use it. So that's my thought process. I know I've kind of talked about it here and there, but I think it bears repeating. So there you go. I think I know where we are on the bracelet now, because that dark blue can't be the first one. It has to be the second one. And then the last one, the last time it does the dark blue is towards the end. Yeah, this is definitely beginner bracelet stuff. It's a little bit tricky to try to keep the tension right, but that's kind of what beginners need, though, right? Is to learn how to get tension, how to change up knots in different directions, and still keep straight rows. So I think this is a really good one for that. And it's pretty. It's a good looking bracelet, So yeah, if you guys give this bracelet a try, you can share it over on Discord. Love seeing what you guys come up with. There's been some really cool ones here lately, but it'd be neat to see this. Could even go ahead and do something where maybe, like, if you wanted, I could share the bracelet you make over on my website to say, like, yeah, you use the same pattern. I don't know. That's a thought I just had that I think it seems kind of cool. Like, if you want to be featured for having made the bracelet, but we could do something like that. That'd be fun. Let me know. So, what else? We got a little bit of time left. That's the pink one. We're almost to the end. Hopefully you enjoy these easier patterns. I know that most people probably think of my channel as like intermediate to difficult, but I kind of want to include everybody. So, you know, throwing in some easy ones that I've discovered kind of made sense. So, but I'll go back to difficult ones. No worries for those that are looking for more of a challenge. I will have more challenging stuff. It's just inevitable. Yep. So you can see that the blue ended a little early. Now this next one will end right after, like as it goes over that pink. So thank you for watching. If you haven't already, please hit the like button. And as always, don't get your strings in a bunch.